everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gita Mary and today I want to talk about my biggest struggles being zero waste or aspiring to be zero waste, attempting zero waste foolishly. I began my zero waste journey back in 2015, so I've been at it for a hot while. Actually, I started my zero waste lifestyle as an experiment. I tried to see if I could go 1 month without producing any waste. And during that month, I learned that it's difficult in a society not designed for it. It's practically impossible, actually. But it did inspire me to keep going. So once my 1 month experiment was up, I learned that it takes longer than a month to become zero waste. But I also learned so much about my own consumer habits and I decided to keep going. The thing is with sustainability, once you start to learn things, once you get it under your skin, once you start taking an interest in impact and how to reduce your own impact, it's really difficult to stop. As a result, it's been like 7 years now and I am still going at it, but my focus in zero waste, in sustainability and in low impact living has definitely changed a lot. So I thought I wanted to take the opportunity in today's video to talk a little bit about some of the biggest struggles I've had in the zero waste lifestyle. Possibly so people watching this video don't have to struggle in the same degree as I did. Or sometimes, it's just really nice to know that there are other people with the same struggles as you, recognizing or acknowledging that these parts of these aspects of this lifestyle can be pretty challenging or difficult, and that's okay to feel that way. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let's go. The first sort of aspect has to do with your own expectations and this idea of perfectionism. So this is something it's taken me a long time to unlearn, mostly because I got the majority of my inspiration for my sustainable lifestyle. I got that through the internet. So I used social media, Pinterest, Instagram, etc. And I saw all these shiny, beautiful, clean, minimalistic lifestyles and content creators that lived these very aesthetic lives. And aesthetically speaking, I was very inspired by that and I tried to adapt these elements into my own lifestyle. However, no one lives a perfectly zero waste, completely always aesthetically pleasing life. And I think it's really important to acknowledge with yourself that that is not the point. It's also okay if it's not perfect. Zero waste in real life looks so different from zero waste online. Zero waste online to me is shiny, bright pantries with bulk goods. It's nice farmers market grocery hauls and it's beautiful zero waste swaps that are always matching. It's beautiful tote bags, etc. It's very product based in reality. And zero waste in real life is so different. And if you don't know or if you don't have that acknowledgement with you once you're starting the lifestyle or once you're trying to evolve in it, you can feel like a failure constantly if your own realistic life doesn't meet the expectations you've set for yourself. So that was definitely something that happened to me quite a lot, especially in the beginning of my journey. I would throw away everything that didn't feel like it matched the zero waste aesthetic, which is stupid. Throwing away things because they visually don't match the aesthetic you've set for yourself is just absolutely, no, it's bogus. It doesn't make any sense. But that was my starting point. The visuals, the aesthetic. It was the expectations that I had when I went into this lifestyle. As such, if I had a more realistic visualization of what zero waste actually is, and with all the different non-aesthetic things that zero waste also includes, I think I could have avoided a lot of mistakes, really. So I think that's really important, that realization. And if no one is saying it, it can take you a long time to get there, which is why we're talking about it. Now, another one, this is more of a practical aspect, but accessibility. So zero waste is very dependent upon the different accessible, sustainable initiatives that you have available to you. So zero waste looks different for everybody, obviously. But zero waste is also significantly easier if you have access to a bulk store or farmer's market or an eco shop or good thrift shops, which is why I always like to talk about low impact living as well, conscious living as well, because it isn't very inclusive. Zero waste really demands that you live in a big urban area where you have all of these opportunities available to you. And a lot of people don't have these opportunities available to them, which means that I've been in this situation myself, and I've talked to countless people with the same issue that says, well, I live in a small village, or I live in a place where there just no one has ever heard of a bulk store, so I can't be sustainable, I can't be zero waste, I don't even want to try because I'm just gonna feel like a failure. So many people don't have access to bulk stores, and for the longest time I didn't have access to a bulk store either. So what I did was that I went to my normal grocery store and I would see how much I could minimize plastic if I could choose other types of packagings instead, and then that would be the best I could do because there wasn't any other option. That's okay then as well. That's fine. If you don't have access to a farmer's market, so you can't get package-free produce, another thing you can do is going for locally produced produce or seasonal produce instead. Even though it's wrapped in plastic, it's still better than not caring whatsoever. I think it's very important that the zero waste movement at least is aware that when we are only talking about, well, you just gotta go to a farmer's market, you just gotta go to a bulk store, we are excluding a vast majority of the population in reality. And it's sad that it's like that, obviously. I hate that it's like that. For instance, like I live in Denmark where farmer's market isn't necessarily a big thing. I am super privileged that we actually have a farmer's market in my town. But other than that, it's grocery stores, it's supermarkets all the way. And I think while these opportunities are amazing, and if you have them nearby, you should support them, because the more people that support them, the higher the demand is for these products, the more initiatives are gonna pop up everywhere, which is amazing. But when we talk about sustainable living, it's also incredibly important to talk about all the other things we can do that doesn't involve a bulk store and that doesn't involve the farmer's market. Otherwise, I think a lot of people will either feel demotivated to not even try to reduce their impact, or are just gonna see it as this very elitist way of thinking, a way of living, which in some cases zero waste absolutely is. But the thing is, the entire mentality, the philosophy behind the lifestyle came from necessity, came from frugal living, from poverty. And in many ways, it's sort of being rebranded as something that is for the super privileged or for the elite or for people that have high incomes. It shouldn't be like that. So I think it's really important to also talk about all these things that doesn't involve these initiatives. Now, I also want to take a second to talk about hyperfixation, because this is something that I struggled with for such a long time. When I started my zero waste lifestyle, I tried and I attempted foolishly to stuff all my trash down into the jar. You know, the infamous trash jar. And today I think the trash jar is bullshit. I've talked about this many times on this channel as well. I think the trash jar is a misrepresentation of what sustainability is. It's also something that enables this hyper focus on the tiniest things, while we should really be focusing on a lot of the invisible impacts that doesn't wind up in our bins, that are just as important, and arguably so, even more important. So when I started out my zero waste lifestyle, the most important thing for me, like without any comparison, was that no one left plastic bags in my apartment, that I didn't require any plastic bags or any straws. These two items took up so much of my mental space. So much of my mental space. I remember one time where I was hosting a party for my friends, and one of my friends bought beer and brought them in a plastic bag. And I spent the entire night thinking about this plastic bag, thinking that I have to make sure that he takes it home with him, because I can't have the plastic bag in my apartment. There isn't room in my trash jar. While it doesn't matter at all, it does not matter where the plastic bag ends up. It's here, and if we can use it for multiple things, if we can use it continuously, that's amazing. But it was sort of going against the entire zero waste aesthetic that I couldn't use plastic bags. I wouldn't even touch them. Needless to say, that is a really unhealthy way of living, and it's very unsustainable in the way that you cannot keep doing that. There's no way that you can keep that up for a longer period of time. So I realized that that mentality in zero waste would either make me quit the lifestyle altogether, or I would have to reimagine what zero waste is to me. We have to focus on our mental health in this as well, and eco-anxiety is definitely a real thing. And let me tell you, my eco-anxiety was okay, then I started hyperfixating on these tiny small things, my eco-anxiety skyrocketed. Now I'm back to a place where, yeah, definitely sometimes I feel overwhelmed, but I feel like in a much more balanced place, and I feel like what I'm doing now, I can keep doing forever. I don't feel like there is an expiration date on this type of living for me. And that's really where we want to go. And that means letting go of this idea of perfection. One thing that I just had to mention in this video as well is the comparing yourself to others aspect. This is something a lot of people struggle with. It's something that I still struggle with all the time, not only in context of sustainability, but in context of everything. I think it's something that happens pretty automatically because our entire social media platforms are really designed to make us feel crappy about ourselves, or to make us feel like we are not achieving at the level that we should be achieving, because look at these other people that look like you or that have similar values to you and where they're at, and why aren't you at that place as well. I think it's very easy to end up confusing someone's curated feed for effortlessness. I think it's easy to assume that if someone isn't talking about the struggles and the difficulties in this lifestyle, if someone isn't talking about all the things that sometimes is super annoying or difficult or that bothers them, it's easy to assume that they don't have challenges, or that they are just breezing right through and everything is fine. And obviously that's not the case. I think one of the things that I struggled with, especially in the beginning, where I was haunted by a bad conscience every single time I did something that just wasn't completely perfect, which is also not great, was that I felt so bad if I was tempted by convenience products, if I was tempted by something that was wrapped in plastic, or if I was tempted by something that didn't feel or was in alignment with my zero waste values. And the thing is, I don't think when I was new in the lifestyle, I don't remember any creators talking about what tempted them or what they did imperfectly, etc. So I just assumed that everyone else was fine. It was effortless. It was easy. And nothing is inherently always easy. And I think, nay, I know that every single person in this lifestyle is tempted by convenience sometimes and do things that aren't the perfect zero waste living experience. They do. All of them. Also me. Every single creator that makes zero waste, low impact, sustainable content online is sometimes tempted and sometimes does something that they're not taking pictures of, or that they are not documenting. All of them. And it's okay. It's not to say that everyone is hypocrites or that everyone is lying. It's just a very human experience to do things at different levels. Like, we don't perform at the same level all the time. It's unrealistic, and I think with movements that are this documented online and that in many ways exist or has been cultivated online, it's very easy to forget that we don't always perform at the same high level. And I think the movement has become a lot better with this for sure. So I see content now that's resetting my zero waste life, or that are, people that are really established in the lifestyle that are explaining, I haven't been doing my best, so now let's get back into it. I want to do this and this and this again, and I stopped doing this and that wasn't great, so now I'm gonna keep doing it again. And we're talking about the fact that not everything happens at the same pace all the time, and that is such an incredibly healthy acknowledgement. It's something that I really wished was available when I started out in this lifestyle, but at least it's available now. So yeehaw! So I actually just ended up including the last point here, which is that sustainability and zero waste doesn't mean performing at the same high level constantly and all the time, because that's not what it's about. And sustainable living also means that you're making unideal choices sometimes. It does. And it's not supposed to feel like a gotcha mentality whenever someone is trying to explain this, or, you know, this doesn't come from a place of malice for sure. I think it's just a very realistic and healthy acknowledgement. And it's something that I struggle with a lot still. Like sometimes I am unsure whether or not I should show this or talk about this. And sometimes I do, if that makes me feel better, and if I think these acknowledgements or if I share this content that is helpful to other people. You can stop for a while and breathe and just normalize the steps that you have taken, make them feel super normal before moving on to other things. It's okay to say, you know what, I changed all of these things. That's a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna change anymore until this feels normal. That's actually a really healthy and really good way of going about it. So for a long time, I felt like I needed to hide the aspects of my life that didn't feel in alignment with the zero waste concept. And I very much indeed try to move away from that mentality, but it is really, really difficult to do, especially, you know, because whenever I then share something that isn't ideal in the lifestyle, there's always a bunch of people going, aha, you're not perfect. It's like, yeah, no shit, I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Do you think some people are out there being perfect? Honey, they don't exist. Sorry. Anyway, I think that's a pretty good note to end this video on. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, leave me a comment down below. If you have any struggles regarding this lifestyle, if you have any thoughts regarding the things that I said, something you want to add, something you want to ask, etc., leave them down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're going to have an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then, bye. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!